That Kanye West can't shock us anymore. And then he says something so shocking, so alarming. It's one thing to go after Kim. You can say whatever you want, I guess. She's his ex-wife. It's horrible, but he says it. To say things that rebound against the kids is just unforgivable. We've been through this so many times. We say it all the time. Wearing the Nazi shirt is unforgivable. The Klan hood itself is unforgivable. It all begins with a father in flames and a family at the center of America's obsession with fame. We are witnessing Ye, a man who once stormed music's biggest stage in a leather kilt, now threatening to storm the Los Angeles courts because of what he calls a war for his daughter's innocence. Ye is no longer just tweeting cryptic clues from his Wyoming bunker. No, he's sharpening his legal knives, targeting Kim Kardashian and Kris Jenner with accusations that could tear apart not only a dynasty, but a legacy of American celebrity itself. The stakes? Their 12-year-old daughter, Northwest, already a viral sensation, already paraded before cameras, now suddenly a pawn in a feud uglier than any tabloid headline. And here's the thing about the kids. At some point, for the younger ones, maybe not. But for North, it's right now. Even if she doesn't see it, even if somehow Kim is able to keep it away from her, the kids at her school, her friends, they're going to know about it. They're going to see it. And it puts the children in a horrible situation. West's anger isn't subtle, and lately, it's not quiet either. He claims Kim is grooming North to become the next Kardashian cash machine, accusing his ex-wife and mother-in-law of turning their daughter into a product before she's even hit her teens. Kris Jenner, he insists, is a puppeteer behind it all, just like she was for Kim, just like she was for Kylie, orchestrating a system where a young girl's wardrobe becomes a marketing strategy. And it's not just about sequin dresses and TikTok filters anymore. He is convinced North's childhood is being sold one outfit at a time, and he's vowed to do whatever it takes, even drag the whole Kardashian empire into court, if that's what it takes to save his daughter. Now, if you thought this was just the usual post-divorce bitterness, think again. What's pouring gasoline on this inferno is a particular moment. One viral photo of North in Rome, decked out in a corset and miniskirt. It lit up the internet, like Times Square on New Year's Eve. The backlash was instant, and it didn't just come from internet moralists or the usual Twitter trolls. Parents, pop culture critics, even former Kardashian stans, started asking, is this really okay? The whispers grew into outrage. And suddenly, the custody drama wasn't just private. It was a circus. Exactly the kind of thing he claims to hate. And yet, here he is, pulling up a front row seat. She definitely has Kanye's outgoing personality, and she'll say whatever is on her mind, no matter what it is. West's emotional outbursts aren't random. They're the soundtrack of a man convinced he's up against a machine built on monetizing and traumatizing women. In his world, Kris Jenner is the mastermind of a dark tradition, passing down a playbook where every generation's daughter becomes a brand. Her innocence replaced by hashtags and magazine covers. And if you think that's just grandstanding, think again. He has been dropping hints for months about Hollywood's sacrifices, about secret deals and shadowy forces controlling the celebrity elite. In one wild rant to a paparazzo, he insisted, they want to monetize and traumatize. My mama was sacrificed. Out here in Hollywood, a lot of people come up missing. Is it paranoia? Or does he know something we don't about what it really takes to survive at the top? That's where the so-called Illuminati custody deal rumor slips in. Industry insiders are already whispering about mysterious agreements, about favors owed and paid in secrets, not signatures. West has all but accused Kim and Kris of trading their daughter's privacy for media power. Meanwhile, the Kardashian camp keeps its lips zipped, refusing to engage with the wildest of Ye's claims. But the question remains, are we watching a father lose his grip, or is he pulling back the curtain on something darker, something we've all suspected but never wanted to admit about the business of being famous in America? Like, you put yourself in that. Absolutely. I did. That was my fault. Maybe they're saying that you don't take accountability. No, that was my fault. I didn't want to have children with this person after the first 2 months of being with her, but that wasn't God's plan. Of course, every scandal needs its mirror. And West's so-called moral crusade is already facing public scrutiny for its hypocrisy. While he trashes Kim for dressing North in grown-up outfits, we're still seeing you parade his current wife, Bianca Censori, through hotel lobbies in see-through mesh and latex, like some Yeezy After Dark promo. Let's not forget the recent uproar over Yeezy PRN, his new collaboration with an adult film producer. Yes, you heard that right. Where he is allegedly directing, casting, and art-directing content that makes his own marriage look like a reality show fever dream. And it gets even messier. Sources claim Bianca is furious, and rightfully so. Not just about the business, but about being pressured to play the starring role herself. If you're waiting for consistency from me, don't hold your breath. This is the same man who only months ago was bombarded with lawsuits. One for inappropriate harassment by a former assistant who claimed she was subjected to everything from explicit messages to disturbing encounters at 30,000 feet. West's legal team, never one to waste a scandal, has threatened to countersue, spinning the narrative back on the accuser. For those keeping score, that means while he threatens to sue Kim over North's outfits, he's battling allegations that make his own behavior look downright indefensible. It's the kind of double standard that would be comical if it weren't so dark. You can argue a lot of things about Kanye, but you cannot argue that he's not intelligent. And now, the legal stakes are only getting higher. Inside sources insist Kim is quietly preparing her own case, building a file of West's outbursts and business choices, especially his more adult-focused ventures, to argue he's not a fit guardian. It's a move straight out of the Kardashian strategy playbook. Keep the public front calm, let your ex self-destruct on social media, and compile the receipts for the judge. All the while, Kim posts cryptic stories with Ariana Grande lyrics about heartbreak and moving on, as if her Instagram is some digital smoke signal to the world that she's playing chess, not checkers. Is Kim safeguarding North's future, making the tough calls as a parent? Or is she ruthlessly maneuvering to erase Ye from the picture once and for all? The whispers are getting louder. If Kim succeeds, you might be looking at not just lost custody, but total exile from his daughter's life. Meanwhile, every move either side makes us fuel for a custody war that feels less like a courtroom drama and more like the endgame in a 12-season reality show we never actually signed up to watch. North will go to her dads and say, "Dad is the best. He has it all figured out. He doesn't have a nanny. He doesn't have a chef." But beneath all the high-profile screaming, there's North herself, 12 years old, caught in the whiplash between her dad's fight for innocence and her mom's global empire. Her Rome outfit may have been the spark, but what about the world she's already living in? Just last month, North's TikTok account, managed by Kim, posted a drawing inspired by West's latest album artwork. It was deleted after fans expressed concern that it was way too grown up for a preteen. The fan reaction? Let the girl be a little innocent. But innocence in this family seems to be in critically short supply. Meanwhile, Kim is doing her best to win over public sympathy, painting herself as the reasonable parent. North's birthday? An extravagant bash in New York, complete with art parties, pizza giveaways, and a surprise guest appearance by streamer Kai Cenat, a man who ironically once found himself in West's crosshairs after a petty feud about pants. The tabloids are already debating. Was this Kim's move to twist a knife, parading North with someone her dad can't stand? Or just a tone-deaf attempt at normal parenting, Kardashian style? And where was Ye during all this? Nowhere in sight. Another absence the gossip mills are eager to dissect, because she has made this very clear. She wants her kids to have a relationship with their father. She's not trying to stand in the way of that. But when he says things like this, at some point she has to be thinking, I don't know if this is good for our kids to be around. Outside the family, the sharks are circling. Lawyers are lining up. Media pundits are breathlessly speculating about emergency orders. And divorce attorneys remind everyone that social media rants are the fastest way to tank a custody case. Courts generally do not like parents litigating their divorce in the press. As one LA divorce specialist put it, a line that must haunt West's every late-night post, every time he hits send, he's not just venting, he's handing Kim more ammunition. And it's starting to look like she's ready to use every single post against him. But don't be fooled. Behind the Instagram stories and the legal filings, this is still a story about power. Who gets to shape North's future? who writes the script, and who ends up erased from it. Yi is desperate to cast himself as a hero, the last man standing against a dynasty of exploiters. But with every scandal, every lawsuit, and every new rumor about his own dealings, that image gets harder to sustain. Even his devoted fans are asking if this is all just about North, or if West's real fight is with the shadows that have haunted him since the day he first stepped into Kris Jenner's kingdom. And while the world is busy keeping score, who's the better parent? Who's the real villain? The lawyers keep filing motions. The tabloids keep printing rumors. And Northwest, at just 12, is already learning the most brutal lesson of all. In the Kardashian West universe, privacy is a myth, childhood is a luxury, and family loyalty is just another thing to be bought, sold, or sacrificed depending on who's holding the camera. And now, as we watch he storm the public stage with crusader zeal, the sharpest contradiction comes crashing down. Because while he brands himself the lone defender of North's innocence, West's alliances tell a far murkier story. Let's talk about Diddy. Here's a man whose reputation is a minefield, tainted by a relentless string of allegations and a growing list of lawsuits that would make even the most shameless reality producer sweat. Yet it's Diddy who he chooses as a partner with publicly, willingly, and, to the disbelief of many, repeatedly. These aren't just one-off business brunches or awkward industry hugs. We're seeing collaborations, music deals, creative projects. You put his brand side by side with man under fire for accusations so serious they make his own legal headaches look tame. Is this what protecting your family looks like? And it's not just guilt by association. Diddy's legal woes have become so mainstream that his name alone is synonymous with controversy. From the courthouse to the news desk, the headlines keep stacking up. Yet Ye, in the thick of his so-called moral crusade, seems to forget all about those victims, all about the consequences of standing with someone whose empire might collapse at any moment. How can he demand Kim shield North from so-called exploitation, while his own hands are clasped with Diddy's in backroom deals? The optics are disastrous, and anyone watching the slow-motion car crash can see it. For every step he takes to look like a hero, his credibility takes another nosedive. It's not just public opinion that's turning. His lawyers must be tearing out what's left of their hair, knowing this is exactly the kind of hypocrisy judges notice in custody battles. And Diddy's ongoing legal sagas aren't the only skeletons rattling around in West's closet. We can't ignore the string of harassment accusations piling up against him. From assistants' vivid testimony about unwanted encounters to former staffers describing a workplace culture that reads like a deleted scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. The lawsuits are real. The details are ugly. The settlements are still up in the air. These aren't the stories of a misunderstood genius. They're becoming the stories of a man whose judgment is falling apart. And every time a new allegation hits the tabloids, West's claim to be a protector of North's innocence sounds less like fatherly concern and more like calculated deflection. Judges look at patterns, not promises. And right now, the pattern is not on West's side. And then there's a Bianca censori problem, a wild card quickly become the fatal flaw in West's narrative. The world watched as he swept Bianca, a rising model and architect, into his orbit just weeks after his divorce was finalized. At first, she seemed like another supporting character in the Yee spectacle. But things changed when Yeezy's foray into the adult entertainment industry exploded across social feeds. Suddenly, Bianca wasn't just a muse. She was allegedly being pressured to become the face of a venture she wanted no part of. Insiders say Bianca has been pushed, prodded, and paraded in front of cameras in ways that echo the same kind of exploitation he accused Kim and Kris of inflicting on North. The difference? In Bianca's case, it's Yee pulling the strings. If the rumors are even half true, Bianca's frustration is boiling over. A source close to the couple says she's absolutely furious, and rightfully so, describing how Bianca is starting to see her marriage as less of a partnership and more of a PR stunt gone rogue. She's not just worried about her reputation. She's terrified about what her future might look like if she doesn't break free. Friends claim Bianca is now consulting legal and industry contacts, quietly strategizing her own exit, and doing everything she can to avoid being the next headline in West's downward spiral. Could Bianca's growing resentment finally force her to testify against him? Will her escape act become the final crack in West's already splintering world? If Kim's legal team gets hold of this, The custody case could tip overnight. All the while, the dominoes keep falling for Ye outside the family. His business empire is withering. Endorsements have dried up. Lawsuits keep draining his bank accounts. And even his closest allies are whispering that Ye could be broke by next year. The money problems aren't just tabloid fodder. They're legal leverage. If Ye can't pay for lawyers, security, or even North's private school, it's Kim who picks up the bill. And the courts notice. No judge wants to hand custody to a parent struggling to keep the lights on, especially not one whose volatile social media posts are cited by attorneys as a danger to their own family stability. The Kardashian legal machine is watching, waiting, and ready to swoop in the second the scales tip. The picture that's emerging is nothing short of catastrophic for West's image. Here's a man who built a legacy on disruption and bravado, now cornered by his own contradictions. He demands a moral high ground while jumping into bed with controversy. He lashes out at Kim for chasing fame while launching ventures that make his family's reality show look like Mr. Rogers. He positions himself as a father fighting for innocence while dragging everyone around him, wives, children, business partners, into the mud. The court of public opinion isn't blind. And neither are the actual courts, no matter how much he rants about Illuminati plots and shadowy elites. But what about North? Every move her parents make, every feud, every leaked message, every public spat, it's all shaping the future of a 12-year-old whose life is already a lightning rod for attention. With Ye spinning deeper into chaos and Kim quietly building her own wall of legal and emotional evidence, the question becomes not just who wins this custody war, but who can survive it with their dignity intact. If Bianca's rumored testimony lands in Kim's lap, and if Diddy's scandals keep tainting everyone he touches, the writing's on the wall for West's last stand. But as always with his family, there's a twist waiting in the wings. Ye has never played by the rules. And if there's one thing he's proved, it's that every time you think he's finished, he finds a way to turn disaster into spectacle. Rumors swirl about new projects, fresh feuds, and an inner circle that's thinning by the day. Kim isn't resting either. With every carefully crafted Instagram post and legal maneuver, she's turning the narrative back in her favor. Quiet, patient, relentless. She's telling everybody exactly what they don't want to hear. And here's the hard truth. The final battle for North's future is just getting started. As he tries to reclaim control, it's his own actions, his alliances, his scandals, his unraveling marriage that may be sealing his fate in real time. We're standing on the edge of the next round of legal and personal drama, and the world is watching every misstep, every rumor, every last Instagram story. So, what do you think? Is he the misunderstood hero fighting for his daughter's soul, a hypocrite drowning in his own contradictions, or something even darker hiding beneath the chaos? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Whose side are you on in this high-stakes custody war? For now, that's all from the front line of Hollywood's messiest battle. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your popcorn ready. Because if you think you've seen it all, think again.